ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। The human composition. The Taittiriya Upanishad have divided the human personality on giving the names called the five koshas, the five sheets, five coverings, five layers of coverings. Sheath means that which covers. When we say that which covers means it covers it, but it has no contact with it. It doesn't touch it. Now, what is this? What is it that these sheaths is covering? What are they covering? They are covering the self. They are covering the Brahman, the Atman. Though they appear to be covering, they have literally no contact with the self. This is what the word sheath indicates. It covers, but it doesn't contact. Just as the sword has a cover which is called the sheath, it covers the sword, but it doesn't touch the sword. Though the sword goes in and out, it covers it, it doesn't touch it. Therefore, comparing to that, Taittiriya Upanishad says, there are five layers of personality that is covering the Brahman, the self. Of the five layers, we have covered the four: Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, and Vijnanamaya Kosha. We have covered the four. And we are coming into the fifth one, the subtlest, which is Anandamaya Kosha. It's called Ananda in the sense bliss. Therefore, the fifth one is called the bliss sheath. Beyond this bliss sheath, beyond these five layers, lies your original nature. Beyond these five layers is the true personality, is the true nature, the true self. Now, what is this fifth one? The fifth one is the subtlest. This being the subtlest, you can understand the fifth one only through inference. The first four are understood directly. The Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha is understood directly. You have an intellect, so you understand that you have an intellect. There is an intellect. You feel, you know that there is the mind. There is this prana, there is this breathing going in and out. You know that there is it. And then the Annamaya Kosha, the gross body. Now, these four is the manifest aspect of your personality, which is the grosser. Then comes the unmanifest part of your personality. The unmanifest part of your personality is the bliss sheath, Anandamaya Kosha. Now, this Anandamaya Kosha, the existence of the Anandamaya Kosha is not a direct understanding, it is an inference. So, the fifth one is understood through inference. Inference means you go to sleep in the night. You go to sleep in the night. You wake up in the morning. You go to sleep in the night and you wake up in the morning and you see the road flooded. Immediately you say, oh, it should have rained. last night. Though you didn't see the rain, you infer that it should have been, it would have been rained. This is inference. So the Anandamaya Kosha is an inference. Anandamaya Kosha is not a direct experience, it is an inference. You can also call it as direct experience as in deep sleep. You can also understand it as a direct experience in relation to the deep sleep experience. There is the waker, and then there is the dreamer, and then there is the sleeper, deep sleep. Now, this deep sleep itself is inference, because you never know it when you are in it. For example, as a waker, you know that you are here, no? Do you have any doubt about it? Illa sir, neenga pesarada kekradunala I am thinking I am here. You know that you are in the waking state, you know that you are there. In the dream state, you know that you are there. In the deep sleep state, you are not there in the deep sleep. You are not present in the deep sleep, but having come out of it, you infer and say, yes, I had a sound sleep. Yeah, I had a sound sleep. Sound sleep na korata vidradilla. Yeah, that's not the sound sleep doesn't mean you are snoring. Sound sleep means what? Silent. It was so silent that you didn't even know that you didn't even know your presence. Upon waking up, you say, this is it. Now, why do we call it a subtle? Is because of this aspect of nature. One is the manifest and another is the unmanifest. The personality manifests for a while and it goes into unmanifestation for a while. It manifests and then it gets into unmanifest also. Just as when you are listening to Vedanta, only the personality that is interested in Vedanta is manifest now. What happened to the other aspects of your personality? It has gone into an unmanifest form. It is not that 24/7 you are only interest is Vedanta. You have varied interests. Of the varied interest, one such is Vedanta. In Vedanta, specific in the way that I talk about it. Yeah, there are hundreds of people who are talking on Vedanta. I'm not the only one on this planet talking about it. At any given point of time, there are hundreds and thousands talking about it. But then you come here, you listen to it. What happened to the other aspects of your personality? It is in an unmanifest form. So when you are awake, one portion of your personality is manifest, rest goes into temporary unmanifestation. In the deep sleep state, everything goes into, the entire personality becomes unmanifest. The senses, the mind, the intellect, everything becomes unmanifest. You go to sleep in the train with all the noise around and everything, you don't hear anything. You wake up in the morning, you are in the other state. You take the flight, you are so exhausted, you sleep off, you open your eyes, you are on the other side of the continent itself. Now, that period where the entire personality goes into unmanifest is the everything goes into unmanifest. In a day, various aspects of your personality manifest and manifest. In the night, the entire personality goes into unmanifest. At the cosmic level, the entire creation will go into unmanifest. So in a day, manifestation and manifestation happens. In the night, the personality manifests and unmanifests. in the from the angle of totality, the entire personality goes into the sorry, not the entire personality, the entire universe, the entire cosmos goes into unmanifest, manifest, unmanifest. The unmanifest is called as the subtlest. Why it is called Anandamaya Kosha? The name itself is beautiful. The name itself is a wonderful name, Anandamaya Kosha. Waking state is Dukkhamaya, pain and Dukkhamaya Kosha, the waking state. Dream state is Kalpana, imaginary. It is the dream state is imaginary. Deep sleep is Ananda. Ananda means bliss. Pada, Nalla Nimmadya, I slept. That sukha, that nimmadi that we say is what is called as Anandamaya. Now, from this, what do you understand? From this, what do you understand? The moment you come into existence, along with you, dukkha comes. Worry, anxiety, pain, so all that comes, and you don't know what to do with it. You get so tired, you try so many methods trying to solve it, you get tired, you get exhausted, you get frustrated, and then you just want to sleep. People say, no, I'm sleeping off my problem. Pusa, they say so many. Now I'm sleeping off my problem. Anandamaya Kosha it is. It's called Anandamaya Kosha. It is just Anandamaya, bliss. The subject-object distinction disappears temporarily. When the subject-object segregation, when the subject-object separation disappears temporarily, that is Ananda, that is bliss. So it is called as Anandamaya Kosha. Don't misunderstand this bliss to be the bliss of self-realization. Yeah. Sir, abdina pesama permanenta we can be in permanenta thungine irklame. Then we will be in permanent bliss. No, you cannot do that either. Why? Because the pressure of your vasanas, the pressure of your likes and dislikes will manifest itself. Just as sometimes you want to manifest using an alarm. You want to manifest keeping an alarm. Sometimes even if you don't keep alarm and you don't want to wake up also, you will wake up. Therefore, the bliss is a relative bliss. Relative bliss as in comparison to the dukkha of the waking state and the dream state. It is a bliss sheath, but not to misunderstand it with the bliss sheath of self-realization. This is Anandamaya. This is Anandamaya Kosha. Subtlest because everything goes into it and everything comes out of it. Everything goes into it and everything comes out of it is the subtlest. Now, in life itself, you can observe, no, everything goes through the cycle of manifest and unmanifest. Everything goes through the cycle of manifest and unmanifest. Last week, even yesterday, it happened. It happens in a year for 5 days, 5-6 days only in a year it happens. Just before the monsoon season or when there is a cloudy season, you get those tiny insects flying around the light. You get that? Tamil ஈசல்னு சொல்றோம் அது இல்லையா? You get that. In a year, it comes for 5-6 days. Have you observed it? It doesn't come every other day. In a year, it comes for 5-6 days only. Rest of the days, Where it goes, how it is existing, God only. It must be existing somewhere. No, that is why it is able to. No, now rest of the days, where it is going, how it is existing, we don't know. In science, we have heard some of the creatures in the polar regions goes to sleep for 6 months. Yeah. In the Manushya Janmala, if you say, I want to, sir, ஒன்னும் வேணாம் சார், தூங்கினே இருக்கணும், அவ்வளவுதான் அப்படின்னா next Janma you will be the next Janma you will become you'll become a bear in the polar region where you can go and where you can sleep undisturbed for 6 months. Even the fishes go to sleep in the water floating. They also sleep. So everything in nature goes into manifest and unmanifest. So the manifest part of the personality is Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha. The unmanifest part of the personality is Anandamaya Kosha. Though the word Ananda is used here, you should not mistake it to the Ananda, the bliss of self-realization. With this brief intro about the bliss sheath, I will read the text and then we'll see further on this bliss sheath. Now I read from the text. Lesson, the human composition. Topic, bliss sheath. Bliss sheath. Bliss sheath consists of vasanas, the inherent, innate material that one is made up of. It is the seed, the subtlest form of the human personality. When you remain in bliss sheath, you are in deep sleep, dreamless sleep. In that state, your vasanas are unmanifest. They manifest as thoughts and desires in the dream and further into actions in the waking state. Since the dream and waking state contains thoughts and desires, you experience mental agitation less or more. The moment you enter the portals of sleep, all agitation ceases. You experience peace and bliss. Hence, the state of deep sleep is known as bliss sheath. But this bliss is relative, not the absolute bliss of self-realization. So, this is what the bliss sheath is. It is the seed. What is the seed? The vasanas. The vasanas, the innate material, the inherent material that one is made up of. They manifest as thought and desires. And in the waking state, it further grossifies into actions. So, the thoughts, the desires, the actions are the manifest part of you. And then there is the unmanifest part of you. The manifest part of you is, we have discussed already. Now the unmanifest part we are discussing. As I said in the beginning, the unmanifest is the direct experience. When we say the direct experience, it is not that when you are experiencing, you know it. Even when we say direct experience, it is not that experience that when you are experiencing, you are aware of it. You will never say, I am in deep sleep. You will always say, I was, I had, always in the past tense. You can never say, I am in deep sleep. Sometimes, sir, Vedanta class la varde adukku per enna? Yeah. Sometimes you get the deep sleep in Vedanta class also. Adu enna sheath? Adu Anandamaya Kosha. That is also It is also Anandamaya Kosha only. Why? Because even there you get the same bliss. Sir, in meditation class we go and we get it. What is it? Same Anandamaya Kosha. The bliss only. The bliss of sleep. The bliss of sleep. It is a negative bliss. It is the absence of your personality. It's not a positive bliss of self-realization. It is a negative bliss. Number one. Number two, it is the bliss that is given to you because of the compassion of the nature. It is not your creation. Nature is so compassionate that it doesn't want you to be agitated. See, if you are awake 24/7, what will happen? They have done a lot of experiments in the psychology. No, they allow a person to sleep. They have these things. No, they know when they are dreaming. The moment the person goes into deep sleep, he is rudely waken up. He will not be allowed to sleep. In those days, all these experiments, they did it with prisoners only. You know that most of the experiments were done with prisoners, because who else will you get? Even the first passengers in the train, after the train was discovered, they wanted somebody has to get into the train and go. No, nobody wanted to take the train. Why nobody wanted to take the train? Because no guarantee that it is going to stop. Not only that it is going to stop, the entire so-called religion in those days said it is a creation of the devil. If God wanted train, God would have created train anyway. Since God didn't want a train, he didn't create it. It is the devil that created it. Therefore, whoever gets into train will go to, you know that? This is history, yeah? They said whoever gets into train will go to hell. Yeah, whoever doesn't get into train only goes to. So what they did, they didn't know what to do. So they picked up 12 people who were sentenced to death. They picked up the 12 and they pushed them into a train. Why? Because if they come out, we know that it is successful. If they die, anyway they are going to die. Yeah. See, why I'm saying, why I'm giving all these stories is to understand that it is a negative, to say that it is a negative bliss. It is not something that is a positive experience. The absence of it. The absence of it in the sense, it is not of your making, it is not of your effort, it is the blessing given to you by nature. Today, because of the mind is being so agitated and frustrated and stressed out and all that, we are not able to utilize this nature's blessing. Not able to utilize the nature's blessing, as in not able to sleep. Nothing refreshes you as the way the sleep refreshes you. Nothing can refresh you in the way that the sleep refreshes. Therefore, all these factors put together is what they call it as Anandamaya Kosha. It is known as the bliss. It is known as the bliss sheath. With this, we conclude the human personality analysis based on the 5 koshas. Based on the five koshas. Now, it is not that the human personality discussion is over. The same human personality is going to be discussed in another 2-3 angles also. Just as one way of discussing the human personality is perceiver, actor, feeler, thinker, contemplator. We saw that already. The first one is perceiver, actor, feeler, thinker, contemplator. The second distinction is physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual personality. Another angle is the five koshas. And then there is I don't know how much more is there. Maybe a couple more. Yeah, maybe a couple more, and then we conclude the topic on human composition. The next topic is what we normally use: the gross, the subtle, and the causal bodies. During the regular course of the classes, we don't use this perceiver, actor, feeler, thinker, contemplator a lot. We will not use the five koshas a lot. We use this gross, subtle, and causal bodies. The causal body is known as Karana Sharira. Causal means that which causes it. That's why it's called Karana Sharira. Subtle means Sukshma Sarira, subtle body. Then comes the Sthula Sharira, the gross body. So in the way that we use it, we use the gross, subtle, and causal bodies a lot. And also we use the waker, dreamer, and deep sleeper that we are going to see next. Now we study the gross, subtle, and causal bodies. Before I go on to that, is there any? Jeev. He's saying, can we say it in future tense also? Because anyway, we are going to be in deep sleep anyhow. Inference inference. You can say it, I came out from deep sleep, or you can say, I am waiting to go to deep sleep. Either way you can say, but it is only but the point there is, it is based on inference. One of the factors of thinking is inference. When we go into the next lesson, we will discuss that Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, and tradition in detail. It's going to come. In that, we will discuss it in Appo Pombodhu Nalla Thala Sutra Madri. I will give a lot of stories and lot of points and all that when we get there. Right now, just understand that it is based on inference. Inference means you don't see it directly. You don't see it directly, but you see something and you infer that because of that it happened. That's called inference. You see smoke in the hill. Standard example of the Upanishads. Standard example of the Upanishad to inference. You see smoke in the hill and you infer that it is. When you see smoke, you will not say smoke, you will say fire. Though you have not seen fire, it is inference. So the deep sleep, we call it as subtle because it is in the unmanifest form. It is in the it is based on inference. சரியா? G. Yeah. Right. Bala, few clarifications. Bala, are you on unmute now?
Is it okay to ask the question now? Unmute pannirukkaru.
Yeah. Is in relation to the five koshas?
Say that. Can I ask the questions, please?
Yeah.
It exactly on this. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
The first, ellame enoda the clarification it has been pending for a long time in my head.
Yeah.
That ellame related to the same thing. Adhe ore idha arachmavada, but a different perspective.
Yeah.
First, probably I think many people may or may not have thought about it. Then I'll go first in a deeper question. அது என்னன்னா இந்த கான்செப்ட் ஆஃப் டெத் இல்லையா, as defined in our shastras or dharmic system, and the soul goes to another body and all that, right? Touring and all the transition as defined in Garuda Purana. I don't want to go in the Puranic way. உபனிஷத் லெவல்லே நான் கேட்கிறேன். அது மாதிரி போகும்போது at the time of death எவ்வளோ ஷீத் வந்து will get destroyed? Will all of them will get destroyed? Or something will reveal? Because for example in the pitru karyam apara karyam la பண்ணும்போது they say pitru gets satisfied, they are hungry, they are thirsty and all that, right? They say their body is not there but their mind is still active, so we shouldn't upset or we should adu marla சொல்லும்போது practically, which means that the manonmaya kosha is still not destroyed, only the sthula sarira adu mattum
in death only when you are alive you are called a prani.
So pranam,
when you are alive you are called a prani.
Okay.
When you are dead you are called a preta.
Correct.
When you are dead you are called a preta. Preta means in transit, person in transit.
Okay.
lounge la wait பண்ணி இருக்கீங்க, அதுதான் person in transit. Preta means transit.
Okay.
Even when you are in transit also you will feel hungry and all that, no?
Correct.
So since they can't help themselves, we help them is the belief. I'm not getting into the details of all that.
Okay.
I'm discussing only in relation to the koshas.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. I want that.
So what happened there is the pranas have left the gross body. The pranas have left the annamaya kosha.
Okay.
The subtler prana leaves one annamaya kosha and enters, finds a suitable annamaya kosha and enters another body.
Excellent. So at the time of our burial or the cremation, both annamaya kosha is literally wiped out.
Yes, correct.
And then their prana is already gone, because that's why they are
subtle body.
Subtle body போயிடுச்சு.
Subtle body போயிடுச்சு.
பிராணம் போயிடுச்சு அப்படி. So that is also gone. ரெண்டு கோஷா gone.
Correct.
Then their mind will be manonmaya kosha, அதெல்லாம் இருக்கும்ல அந்த.
Yes, all that is there.
Okay, only out of 5, 2 2 wicket gali, 3 wicket still they are stuck with the three remaining 3 koshas. Is it
1 wicket gali?
1 because prana la tell me why 1?
Amma 2 wicket gali achina prana, how can prana die? Prana is still there. Okay. It has left one transit. It has left one and going into another.
And the association with that Sula Sariram, whatever, and the Annamaya Kosha is gone, but it is craving for the next in the body Venundra Mari, it is in the transit. So okay, now I got it. Correct. So all other koshas, Prama, Manonmaya Kosha,
all the 4 will be there.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
All the 4 are there.
Okay.
Reference verses 14, 13, 14, chapter 2, Bhagavad Gita.
Excellent. Okay. In the chapter sonning? Sorry.
Chapter 2, verses 13, 14, 15.
Excellent. I will go and revise. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, adila padichelna, it is there explained in where he explains it very clearly there.
Oh, okay. And I don't want to go in a Puranic way, but I'm just saying a lot of people say at the time of death and the velaketharadala practically other whatever souls.
Yeah. That is, I'm not, you are right, Bala. We don't discuss that here. That is the Puranic way.
Yeah, sure. Okay, then we'll move on to the next. I'll go only Upanishadic way. Idhula vandu you ரொம்ப கலெக்டிங் அந்த தைத்திரிய உபனிஷதோட இது essence you conveyed through the master. And the concept I want to get the clarification of in the portions of Taittiriya Upanishad, the Siksha Vali vandu bayangaram, I don't know how to say it, Siksha Vali or Siksha Vali, or so I don't know the Sanskrit one.
Yes, Siksha Vali.
Siksha Vali. So adu in the Vali or Vali, I don't know how to say it. Adu enna, is it like chapter kandam and with Sundara kandam or solla adu mari, is it a chapter ku name, section ku name, la so the Siksha Vali, why is it so sacred, or why given so much importance?
That we will discuss separately. Okay. That is not of the interest of the entire class.
Sure, then I will leave it separately, not a problem.
We will discuss that separately.
Sure. And another thing is in Anandamaya Kosha சொன்னீங்கல்ல,
yes,
one thing you said is it is not same as the bliss of the self realization அப்படினா,
Yes.
அந்த இதுல வந்து I don't want to எனக்கு ரொம்பலாம் தெரியாது, but the people keep on saying this so called samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi and vikalpa samadhi அப்படின்ற மாதிரி. One is like transient, நீங்க சொன்ன intransit samadhi state. அதுக்கும் ஆனந்தமய கோஷாவும் is there any relationship or completely
No.
they're off the topic?
Anandamaya kosha, all this vikalpa, nirvikalpa and the grades of samadhi and all that is effort. It is manifest. Anandamaya kosha is unmanifest.
Oh, ரெண்டு விதமான சமாதியுமே manifested தானா?
Manifested. There is a manifest because thoughts are involved in everywhere. Thoughts are involved in everything.
Oh.
In only the Anandamaya kosha is not any of the samadhi things. Anandamaya kosha is the natural deep sleep state.
Natural deep sleep.
What even the person in nirvikalpa samadhi also goes through.
Even the person in, okay, they also go into that state itself, or in nirvikalpa samadhi or vikalpa samadhi,
a person cannot be permanently 24/7 in nirvikalpa samadhi illa. It is not possible.
Okay.
It is all a temporary states. You get in a period of silence and you get out. There are grades in it, avladha. But even that person goes to sleep. Even that person also becomes unmanifest. Even that personality also becomes unmanifest. That is Anandamaya kosha.
Okay, okay. I think I kind of purira mari irukku, but I will think more into it. Self reflection.
Ena ungalku illa onnu illa. Vikalpana enna? Thought.
Okay.
Sa vikalpana with thought.
Okay.
With thought na with many thoughts nu plural la purinjukanum.
Okay.
Because singular thought as such doesn't exist. Thoughts nale plurality da.
Okay.
Now nirvikalpa means, sa vikalpa means meditating on a subject savikalpa.
Okay.
Meditating on a single entity is nirvikalpa. Ipo Rama Bhakti nu vandurtuna, that is savikalpa, where I don't go about anything else.
Okay.
Ramangra vaarthe thavira vera edume solradhu illana nirvikalpa.
Oh, okay, okay.
It is all related to thoughts only, gradations of evolution, avladha. There's nothing like different samadhis lang kadayadu. So and all these people talk about it because, see, primarily Bala, most of these people don't have any experience of anything. They just hear a few words and they say it.
Correct.
And even when they say it, they speak based on their limited experience. I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm not condemning anybody. I'm saying this is how it works.
Excellent, excellent.
Vikalpa means thought. Sa vikalpa means thoughts in plural. Meaning, I become a Rama Bhakta, I become a Rama Bhakta. So Hanuman is in Savikalpa Samadhi because he thinks only about
one entity or one object.
One entity, Rama. So he likes to hear the glories of Rama.
Okay, okay.
And then same Hanuman goes into Nirvikalpa Samadhi, where just the sound Rama is enough. He need not know the entire story of Ramayana. He need not read everything. Just the sound Rama itself is
sufficient for him to enter that state.
Sufficient for him. But that very Rama also produces lot of associated thoughts with it.
Okay, okay, okay.
That is why it is called two types of samadhi based on the number of thoughts, the frequency of thoughts. But both are in relation to
the manifested nature of the
thoughts. Okay. Deep sleep is where Anandamaya kosha is where there is natural stage of thoughts going. It is not thoughts. It's not that we have transcended the thoughts. It's not that we have sublimated them. It's not that it is under your control. It naturally goes into an unmanifest state.
Okay, okay, okay. I kind of, now it's making more sense. Okay, okay.
Yeah. And it becomes easy to get the concept, and then you can develop from out in the basic formula, and you can develop it.
எக்ஸலண்ட் எக்ஸலண்ட். இப்ப இந்த இதுல வந்து தைத்திரிய உபநிஷத் நீங்க ரெஃபர் பண்ணீங்களா இந்த கோஷாக்கு, இந்த
Yes.
சமாதி அதெல்லாம் வந்து அந்த வேர்ட்ஸ்லாம் வந்து பதஞ்சலி யோக சூத்ரா மட்டும் தான் இருக்கா, அது உபநிஷத் லெவல்ல வந்து அங்க
Yeah. It comes in the Upanishads also. It comes in the Upanishads. It comes in the Bhagavad Gita. It comes everywhere. It's a very common word that comes in all Vedic literature. Uses this word samadhi.
Okay, another they are all circling around the thoughts, the different stages, phases of thought process or thought.
The word samadhi is samadhi.
Dhi is
sama plus dhi. Dhi nale buddhi, intellect, duality, thoughts.
Okay.
That's all. So there is no absence of thought. Again, is a thought.
Okay.
I have no thoughts is also a thought only.
Correct.
Only in the deep sleep stage there is no thought, or in the state of self-realization.
Okay, I got it.
Till then it is only the frequency, the number, the branching of that is the number of thoughts, the branching of under control, not under control. Idallam the distinction.
Excellent. Okay. Now I can correlate with the yoga nidra nu vandu bayangarama emphasis pandrathu vandu probably it is to make a person to achieve that deep sleep, what REM sleep nu solluvaanga illaya, and science la and psychology la REM, rapid eye movement also practically adha poradhu. The yoga nidra is nothing but to the yoga seeker practitioner to go every day to experience a deep sleep is a motivation, which is anandamaya kosha irukku ortharku therinjave vandu that will
yoga nidra. Yarku yoga nidra venum? The person who is agitated needs yoga nidra to go to sleep.
Okay.
A person who is disturbed mentally, who can't naturally fall off to sleep, nowadays we have lot of chemicals that induces that sleep.
Correct.
In those days what they did, they used certain techniques to make a person fall off to sleep.
Okay.
Some techniques is used to hypnotize. Some technique is used to make the person fall off to sleep.
Okay.
There are different techniques.
Excellent.
All are related to the thoughts only. So yoga nidra is nothing but making a person fall off to
sleep.
Sleep. It's a healing process. Adella healing la varum idella.
Okay. And the slow on the steps lay on the dissociation of the mind from the limbs of the body and all that. Now they dissociate panna annamaya koshala irundhu konjam velila pona andu poitu அப்படியே push பண்றாங்க.
Because the mind is so agitated that it can't go off to sleep naturally.
Okay, as simple as it. Okay.
As simple as that. It can't fall off to sleep naturally because of the extreme agitations.
Okay.
Now, if that person continues in that extreme state of agitations, that person goes through a hell.
Okay.
To help that person out, every generation finds their own tools.
Okay.
Every generation finds some tools to help those people out. The tool that is used in those days is
yoga nidra. Okay.
Yoga nidra.
Okay. Sorry to say, they are teaching it to young children because of the gadgets and the mobile phones and all that, games and all that.
avalukku thukam vara maatendradhe.
Exactly. Sorry to say that, but okay.
Yaarkume ipo thookamradhe yaarkume vara maatendradhe.
We have evolved in that way, unfortunately. Okay. So I think I'll give it back to you. One last the kalpana and the beauty of sonninga. So is it same as karpana in Tamil?
Yes, same thing. Yes. Okay. Same da. Exactly the same thing.
Okay. Exactly. I think I pretty much got what I was looking for. So in the and the one idu thought panna I will review again with respect to samadhi and the bliss state don't confuse with what is it, self realization to the and the subtle clarity. I will think about it, probably I will get it. It is not same abdina you are repeating.
Correct.
It shouldn't be misunderstood abdinradhu.
That's something neenga idu pannittu vaango, think pannittu vaango, we will take it up again, no problem.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, right, Bala. The 5 koshas. We discussed the 5 koshas and we are moving into discussing the same human personality from another angle of Karana Sharira, Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira. the gross, subtle and causal body. In 80-85% of the classes, we will use only these three: the gross, subtle and the causal body. So what is the three? I'll read from the text and then we will see the explanation. Gross, subtle and causal bodies. A human being may further be divided into three constituent bodies known as gross, subtle and causal bodies. These are formed from the 5 sheaths enumerated above. The foot sheath and the gross part of the vital air sheath together constitute the gross body, whereas the subtle part of the vital air sheath together with the mental and intellectual sheaths form the subtle body, and the bliss sheath is the causal body. The causal body contains vasanas in the unmanifest form. The subtle body contains thought, desire, feeling and emotion, while the gross body extends to perception and action. The vasanas of an individual manifest through the gross and subtle and causal bodies respectively as the waker, dreamer and deep sleeper. Now, this gross, subtle and causal body is again the same human personality analysis taken from the koshas again. So the gross body is made up of the physical organs. The subtle body is made up of the emotions, perceptions, thinking, mind and intellect. To put it very simply, mind and intellect. The causal body is the vasanas in the pure unmanifest form. These are the three bodies. These three bodies, the gross, subtle and causal, can be further divided into waker, dreamer and deep sleeper. One of the important distinctions in the human composition is the dividing the individual into the three based on the three experiences. Previously, it is based on the equipments. Now, the division is based on the three experiences. The three experiences of waking, dream and deep sleep. Now, in this topic here, carefully follow. In this topic here, waker, dreamer and deep sleeper, we'll just discuss it in a very basic way. For there is a separate lesson on this. There is a lesson called the states of consciousness. When we go there to that lesson, the states of consciousness, we will discuss that in we'll discuss it in full detail based on the three experiences. And these three states is from the few Upanishads. Predominantly, Mandukya Upanishad talks about it. The three states of the Mandukya Upanishad talks about the human personality from the angle of the three experiences. And when we go into that lesson, the states of consciousness, we will see all that in detail. Now, I am reading the topic waker, dreamer and deep sleeper. Topic: waker, dreamer and deep sleeper. Every human being passes through the waking, dream and deep sleep states. The pure consciousness is a substratum of them all. When the consciousness functions through the gross body, it takes the form of the waker, Vishwa in Sanskrit. Now, don't worry about the Sanskrit names. The English name is what we are predominantly using it, but then here the direct words that is used in the Upanishads is also given. When the consciousness functions through the gross body, it takes the form of the waker, Vishwa in Sanskrit. The waker experiences the waking world. When the consciousness functions through the subtle body, it becomes the dreamer, the Taijasa. The dreamer experiences the dream world. And functioning through the causal body, the consciousness turns into the deep sleeper, Prajna. The deep sleeper enjoys sound sleep, free from thought, desire, and action. Thus, the one consciousness identifying with the three bodies manifests as the microcosm, the waker, dreamer, deep sleeper, Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna. You go through the waking, dream, and deep sleep all your life. But at any time, you assume only one of the three personalities. You are either a waker, or a dreamer, or a deep sleeper. When you take up the position of a waker, the waker goes through the experiences of the waking world. The waker treats the waking world as real and rejects the dream world as unreal, a mere illusion. Again, when you take up the position of a dreamer, the dreamer treats the dream world as real. To the dreamer, the waking world and all that goes with it do not exist. So both the waker and the dreamer experience a relative reality as long as each is confined to his respective realm of experience. But the moment he crosses the boundary of his world, its reality is lost. Yet, both the waker and the dreamer emphatically assert that his world is absolutely real. Janaka was a king imbued with spiritual wisdom. One night he dreamt he was a beggar. He woke up from the shocking dream and summoned his counselors. To them, he posed his famous question: am I King Janaka who dreamt that I was a beggar? Or am I the beggar now dreaming that I am a king? The counselors were confused and did not know what the king meant. So they brought in the sage Ashtavakra to answer the question. The sage gave these pearls of wisdom to the king. You are neither King Janaka nor the beggar. You are the Supreme Self, Atman. In the waking state now, the Self has assumed the form of the king. A while ago, in the dream, the Self had become the beggar. At another time, it would take the form of the deep sleeper. You are not the waker, dreamer, or deep sleeper. You are the Self. So it is with everyone. You are the Supreme Self, Atman, God. You are pure consciousness. The Supreme Consciousness, passing through the gross, subtle, and causal bodies, assumes the forms of the limited waker, dreamer, and deep sleeper. Just as colorless water appears green, blue, or yellow when seen through these colored glasses, so do you see yourself limited through these bodies. What a blunder you make of yourself to believe you are the waker, dreamer, or deep sleeper. Never do you recognize yourself in its pristine glory. The self that lies unconditioned beyond the three bodies. To discover your real self, you must transcend the limitation of your material equipments. Drop your identification and attachment with them through spiritual practices. You then attain your supreme being, the state of God consciousness known as Turiya. Turiya in Sanskrit means fourth. You reach the fourth state, the transcendental beyond the three mundane states. The consciousness is the substratum of the microcosm and the macrocosm as well. When the consciousness functions through the aggregate of all gross bodies, it expresses as Virat, cosmic waker. The same functioning through the aggregate of all subtle bodies expresses as Hiranyagarbha, the cosmic dreamer. and through the aggregate of all causal bodies as Ishvara, cosmic deep sleeper. The combination of these cosmic expressions is the macrocosm. The macrocosm and the microcosm together form the world. In the book, the diagram illustrates it. If the microcosm is likened to a drop of water, the macrocosm would be the ocean. Both the drop and ocean are water. He who understands water in the drop understands water in the ocean, water everywhere. Likewise, he who realizes the self within realizes the self in one and all, the all-pervading being, discovers the consciousness around which the microcosm and macrocosm revolve, attains spiritual enlightenment. I just read through that because with this chapter is over. The human composition. Yeah. Anatomy class, how long we can keep studying the anatomy. And anyway, these two is going to be discussed further into the following chapters. Now, what we discussed just now is this. The perceiver, actor, feeler, thinker, contemplator personality, the five koshas, the gross, subtle and causal body goes through three states of experience. You can call it as the individual going through it, or you can call it as the perceiver, actor, feeler, thinker, contemplator going through it, or you can call it as the gross, subtle and causal body. All means the same. What it means here is the same human personality is analyzed based on the three distinct experiences. What are the three distinct experiences? The three distinct experiences that the human being goes through is waking, dream, and deep sleep. Currently, we are in the waking state. Yeah. Maybe daydreaming in the waking state, but we are in the waking state. From here, we move on to the dream state. And then distinct from this waking and dream state is the state of deep sleep. Though you go through all these three states, what it means is, what happens is, number one, at any given point of time, you will be experiencing only one state. Number two, whatsoever state you are experiencing, you will assert that state as real and ignore the presence of the other two states. Number three is all these three experiences is not you. All these three experiences is not you, or you are the self. That is what the Vedanta Shastra is all about. That is what all great masters teaches us, which is what Ashtavakra taught Janaka. This is what Ashtavakra taught Janaka. The conversation between Ashtavakra and Janaka. One of the beautiful conversations. We have seen that any number of times. I am not getting into that conversation now. I am not getting into the story part of that conversation, for we have seen those discussions. Having woken up, Janaka was able to remember that experience so vividly Remembering that experience so vividly, he asked this question. What is the question? Am I the King Janaka who dreamt to be a beggar? Or am I the beggar who is dreaming that I am a? Both are possible, no? Both are possible. Am I the king who dreamt to be a beggar? All the ministers said, what is your problem? You are the king. இதில் என்ன டவுட்? இந்த மாதிரிலாம் இதுக்கு தான் தேவையில்லாத புக்ஸ் வேதாந்தா எல்லாம் படிச்சா you will get all this useless obvious things you will start doubting. Yeah, so clear. You are the king. Yesterday you were the king. Today you are the king. And you went into sleep just as we all go to sleep. And you dreamt in between that you are a beggar. Why are you disturbing us? This is what the councillors, ministers thought within themselves. But they can't say this to the... Yeah, obviously we also think like that, no? We also think like that. When I say we, I really don't know how you all think. When I heard about this waking, dream and deep sleep, I thought like this. Why is it so obvious? Why are they bringing in this unnecessary, confusing comparison and all that? It takes quite a while to understand it needs a lot of manana. It needs a lot of reflection to understand why these experiences are discussed in great detail. When we go into the states of consciousness chapter, we will do that. Today, I am not going to go into the details because that is not what he is discussing here. Here he is only discussing the few fundamental points. What are the few fundamental points? At any given point of time, you experience one, and whatsoever you experience, you assert that to be real, ignoring the other. In this continuous experiences of waking, dream and deep sleep, waking, dream and deep sleep, waking, dream and deep sleep, Janaka had a doubt. Not only Janaka had a doubt, so many people have this, so many wonderful beings over generations had this doubt. To them, the answer that is given is, am I the waker or am I the dreamer or am I the deep sleeper is the question. For which the answer is, you are neither the waker nor the dreamer nor the deep sleeper. Then what is this waker, dreamer and deep sleeper? When the consciousness associates and expresses in one particular way, it is called when the consciousness functions through the gross body, it is called the waker. When the consciousness assumes the role of when the consciousness assumes identification with the gross body, it is known as the waker. When the consciousness assumes identification with the subtle body, it is called the dreamer. When the consciousness assumes identification with the subtle with the causal body, it is called the deep sleeper. So it is an assumed identification, not real. That is why you have to use the word assumed, because it is an assumed identification, not real. This microcosm means the subject, macrocosm means the object. Now, microcosm and macrocosm are strikingly similar, only varying in degree, not in kind. Strikingly similar. What is the similarity? If you remember in part A, again in lesson 2 in part A, which we have, I don't know in which Janma we studied that. Yeah. நாம் போற ஸ்பீடுக்கு ஒரு ஜென்மால ஒரு புக் முடிச்சாலே பெரிய விஷயம் இல்லையா? I am going like a goods train, so slowly I am going. So எப்பயோ ஒரு ஜென்மால we studied the part A Vedanta treatise lesson number 2. There we have studied how microcosm and macrocosm are strikingly similar. Now, the same idea is further expanded from the Shastric angle. What is it? The microcosm is 3 names are given. What are the 3 names given to the microcosm? The individual gross body, individual subtle body, individual causal body. It is called Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna. Thella names, doesn't Sanskrit names given. Total gross body, total subtle body, total causal body is the macrocosm. The subject interacting with the object, the subject is interacting with the object, correct? Now, from the standpoint of Ganesh, who is the subject and who is the object? From the standpoint of Ganesh, Ganesh is the subject and Aravindan and the rest are the objects. From the standpoint of Aravindan, who is the subject and who is the object? Aravindan is the subject and the rest are all the objects. So the objects also has something similar. Then only interaction is possible. So some name and name is given to the macrocosm, which is the object. Clear? எப்போ சப்ஜெக்ட்டுக்கு அரவிந்தன் பேர் கொடுத்திருக்கிற மாதிரி ஆப்ஜெக்ட்ஸுக்கெல்லாம் ஒரு பேர் தனித்தனியா பேர் கொடுத்திருந்தாக்கா என்னைக்கு சொல்லி முடிக்கிறது? So what they did, தனித்தனியா பேர் சொல்லி வச்சிருந்தா என்னைக்கு முடிக்கிறது? அதனால what they did, they clubbed the entire object together and gave it one name. So when they are clubbed together in the waking state, all the objects clubbed together, the name given is Virat. In the dream state, the name given is Hiranyagarbha. In the deep sleep, it is called Ishvara. In the Aru Perum, don't worry. Adutha varathilendu we will not even mention these 6 names. Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna, Virat, Hiranyagarbha, Ishvara, ellam we will not even bring in. Why? Because we are not using the Sanskrit words, but you are using the concepts anyway. English words ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கிறதே கஷ்டமா இருக்குது. இதுல Sanskrit words ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கணும்னா it becomes that much more difficult. And the same Sanskrit word has so many meanings in different schools of thought. இல்லையா? எல்லா ஸ்கூல் ஆஃப் தாட்டையும் படிச்சுட்டு சிவுடா மாதிரி இங்க வந்து உட்கார்ந்தா என்ன மீனிங் சொல்றோம்னே we don't know. இல்லையா? Example, Bala. இல்லையா? One Sanskrit word, he has studied all the schools of thoughts. எந்த மீனிங் சொல்றோம்னு அவருக்கும் புரியறது இல்ல, ஒரு ஸ்டேஜ்ல எனக்கும் புரியறது இல்ல. At some point of time, I also don't understand what I'm saying, or only we both understand what we are discussing. Rest of the people are like, oh my God, what is happening? What is happening now? Why? That's why we don't get into these Sanskrit words. Bala mute la dhaan irukkaru. Correct. I know I'm using it because he takes it in the right spirit. He takes it, I know. And the அளவுக்கு அவரை brain wash பண்ணி வச்சிட்டோம். அதனால I can make good fun of him now. This Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna, Virat, Hiranyagarbha, Ishvara, Allah, remember it as the subject and the object. When the waker subject interacts with the waking world of objects, it is Vishwa and Virat. When the dreamer subject deals with the dream world of objects, it is Taijasa in contact with Hiranyagarbha. Deep sleep, causal body, Prajna and Ishvara. Prajnana, awareness. Ishvara also means that. Ishvarana, not Lord Shiva, not the Lord. Don't take it as Ishvara means. That is not the meaning here. One of the meanings of the word Ishvara is consciousness. So, When it comes to the individual, it is called prajna. When it comes to the total, it is called Ishvara, but both means the same. Because in the deep sleep state, the subject object segregation don't exist in the manifest form. That is why it is both the names are given, the names are given where both means the same. This is as far as the waker, dreamer and deep sleeper in the state of subject and object, as in the individual and total. Don't worry about it. I'm rushing through it because next chapter is called self-analysis. In the self-analysis in the chapter mudicha odane we are going to go into the topic called the states of consciousness, where we will be analyzing this waking, dream and deep sleep till you get completely confused and say naanga deep sleep ike poidrom sir utrunga engla. We don't want this waking one, dream one. We'll go to this. We will analyze it in such detail. Don't worry. That's why I'm just rushing through this topic here. It's not that we are concluding here. In the human composition chapter, what we have discussed is enough. When we go into the waking, dream and deep sleep, the lesson states of consciousness, we will discuss that. We will discuss that in detail. Now, Venkatachalam, you mentioned consciousness functions through the gross body. Is it the reflected consciousness conditioned by the equipment and senses? Exactly correct. It is a reflected consciousness.
Okay.
It is a reflected consciousness, conditioned consciousness. Exactly correct.
Okay, thank you.
In the reflected consciousness, conditioned consciousness word, we will use it in the next chapter.
Okay.
In the self-analysis chapter, we will use that reflected consciousness, the conditioned consciousness. You are correct. It's exactly the same. Seriya?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, right. Bala, one clarification on waker state of macrocosm. Bala, are you unmuted or muted?
இப்ப நீங்க என்ன சொன்னாலும் I will respond. I give you the 100% rights for you to make fun. அது ஒன்றும் ப்ராப்ளமே இல்லை.
I know. I take the liberty with you. I know that.
Sure.
உங்களை இது பண்ணி வச்சிட்டோம் இல்லையா?
Correct. To be honest with you,
yes.
Sure. To be honest with you, the problem is not just me. Maybe I don't blame others. Most of them are kind of, I think, we are so much fed with the Puranic way of the society and all that way we were brought up. Yeah. So many of the assumptions we have, we don't speak out or get clarified. That's my kind of thought process. For example, in the case from childhood, I've always heard. I don't want to go into the Puranic sense, but the Lord Narayana is always parkadalla pattundu para or kaala pidividuvanga. He'll be always in the deep sleep. Sleep. Ana when adharmam bayangana pottana, then he will come and then Visurupa edupa vadinarle. Practically, adu I'm thinking in the human composition you're talking about as the individual self, like the perishable people, like souls going through incarnation and all that. Bharta Jananam and Maranam and all that, right? I'm thinking this doesn't apply to these souls which are getting transformed each time. I think the creator also goes through the same cycle. Creator, if you talk about Narayana himself, is in a deep state. Vishwarupam and Arupama or Kadavulake, Rupama Varamboda, and then he comes as a waker shade, is Vishwarupam.
Exactly correct. Exactly correct, Bala. You are perfectly correct. That is why the Puranic story says even the gods goes into
on the deep sleep.
Even the gods goes into unmanifest form during the pralaya. They also go into unmanifest form.
During the pralaya, they go to unmanifestation. Okay.
They also go into unmanifest. So in all that has to be the manifest and the unmanifest, because whenever there is a manifestation, there has to be a corresponding opposite of unmanifestation.
Excellent. Yeah, correct. Okay.
So in the theorem, the Puranic stories build wonderful stories.
Excellent. Okay.
In the theorem, they build stories, and what happens is when they talk the stories, the mistake they make is story solli mudichittu in the formula solradhukku and the story solliyaachna our clarity, we would understand it rightly.
Yeah, reference to the Upanishad illa. Adha.
Yes.
Okay.
Since that part of it is not being done at all, we are having this difficulty.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Then we think it's all mythics or mythical,
correct.
mythology.
Yes,
Unfortunately.
Angada it becomes so mythic, so this thing with we start thinking it as somebody's notion and all. So then we get into so many confused understanding about it.
Sure, sure. அதே மாதிரி the Brahmaவோட one second of Brahma is our 1 year in earth and all that. I think it's all the same thing at the Vaker state and the state
exactly
of
the same.
Okay.
Because time is relative. Now, how to explain?
Correct.
How to explain the concept that time is relative? Like, இப்போ ஈசல்னுடைய time வந்து 20 minutes தான்.
Okay.
In that 20 minutes, it has to do everything what a human being does in 70-80 years.
Okay.
So, but for that easel, the 20 minutes is that entire lifetime.
Correct.
So, that how to explain the concept that time is relative?
Okay.
One is through logic and reason. Now, when people are not ready for logic and reason, they should not be left behind, no? So what they did, they take the same concepts and make stories out of it.
Excellent. Okay, now I am அது clear ஆயிடுச்சு. இன்னொன்று வந்து just before I disconnect, I really want to acknowledge our great rishis and all. ஏன்னா I see this parallelism in any scripture wherever ஒரு காம்ப்ளெக்ஸ் டாபிக்கை வந்து 5 இருக்கிறத 3 ஆக்கிடுவாங்க. அதாவது ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் நீங்க யூ கேவ் பஞ்சகோஷாஸ் தென் பிகம் 3. வேற ஒரு டைமென்ஷன்ல ஒரு ஆங்கிள் பார்க்கும்போது தே மேக் இட் அஸ் 3 காசல் பாடிஸ். அதே மாதிரி ஆயுர்வேத சாஸ்திரம்ல ஐ see that பஞ்சபூதாஸ் அந்த இது அத வந்து 3 வந்து வாதா பிதா கபான்னு ஸ்ட்ரிங் பண்ணிடுவாங்க. So I see this kind of different perspective coming into the either bhutas or koshas, everything.
Correct.
Goes back to Upanishad. I am really, I have to be. It's like a prabhava. You have to be humble to those masters. It's like that's amazing.
Perfectly
kind of
correct. We have to be extremely. We have to be extremely grateful to the help that they have done to us.
Correct.
Extremely grateful. We have to be. You are perfectly correct. அதனாலதான் டெய்லி அவளை நினைச்சுக்கணும், டெய்லி அவளுக்கு நமஸ்காரம் பண்ணணும்னு சொல்றது அதனாலதான்.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you.
We have to think of them every day, and we have to show our gratitude to them every day because of the extraordinary work they have done to help us out.
Correct. Okay. Capsule form, they have given all this complexities. They have simplified it. Yeah. Okay. Correct. Thank you. And going forward on the Sanskrit, I think my obsession has gone. I am going more into Upanishadic sense. But in the Puranic and the linkage, connecting dots is still my curiosity doesn't die. Because
no, you please keep asking. Don't worry. Keep asking.
Yeah, Jignasu.
Bala, only if you ask, I can make fun of you also. No. Gamman irundha, what will I do? Ellarum Gautam Buddha mari ukandirundha, what will I do after that?
Correct. Yesterday I read about Jignasu or the nature on the spiritual evolution. Jignasu is fundamental. I read actually. Kind of it. I think we have to use it in a sense of linking the Puranic with the Upanishad so that we go back to the root and understand where it all came from.
Correct. Correct. Exactly correct. We have to. We should know how to link it to the root. That is very important.
Okay. Then otherwise we'll be in dogma and we'll keep circling. Yeah. Thank you. I'll mute myself. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Right, Bala. Suresh. Any reference to do further study on the interaction between the individual experiencer and the total experiencer? I understand that these are relative experience. Okay, what is he asking? Any reference to do further study on the interaction between the individual experiencer and the total experiencer? Between the subject and object you are asking. I'm not able to understand what he is saying.
Suresh, Suresh Ramakrishnan irukar.
Suresh, this is Suresh Ramakrishnan.
Rendu irukanga.
Okay, Suresh Ramakrishnan.
Okay, பண்ணிடுங்க.
This is Suresh Ramakrishnan.
Yes, sir. Sir, இதுல இந்த individual waker is Vishwa and total waker is Virat. First of all, why should we learn about the total waker, total dream sleeper, and total dreamer?
Because the subject is not experiencing anything by himself. He is interacting with the world of objects and beings. Since Subject is only 50% of the story. The world is the other 50% of the story. So knowledge for knowledge that has to be complete, both has to be analyzed, both has to be known, both has to be discussed. In the discussion of the object, the benefit of discussing the object is the right understanding and the right assessment. Why do we have to study them? He's asking what is the benefit of, very good question. The benefit of studying about the object. What is the benefit of studying about the object? The benefit of studying about the object is, one is the right assessment. Second is the similarity. The third one is how everything is temporary. Sir, only I am temporary, sir, but the world is 4 billion years. No. I am born in 71. I am born in 71, but the world, sun is 8 billion years ago, the sun came. No. Therefore, we talk about the reality as in grades. We don't understand the reality as in grades. Unless we discuss about the object also in this way, we understand how it is different from, you know how to assess it. Assess it means you will know how to deal with it rightly. Number two, you will know the distinctions of all this. Number three, you would know how they are also relative in time. When you understand that also as relative in time, then the question comes, is there anything that is transcending the time? இவ்வளோ டீடைல்டா டெப்த்ல போய் அனலைஸ் பண்ணி எல்லாமே ரிலேட்டிவ்ன்ற அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் வந்தாதான் இட் பிகம்ஸ் ஈஸி டு ஆஸ்க் த क्वेश्चन as to what is it beyond time. சரியா? That's why as we discuss the subject, we parallelly keep discussing the object also. Is it okay, Suresh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Seriya?
Thank you.
Yeah, right. With this, we conclude this chapter, human composition. Chapter 10, we start next week. It's called self-analysis. Self-analysis, chapter 10, we continue from next week. We conclude today.